bit on the wonk. Is that any better? I don't know. Anyway, hello and welcome to episode whatever it is of the Pins and Needles podcast. My name is Zoe. You can find me everywhere on Instagram and Ravelry as Pins and Needles UK. Feel free to contact me directly there, or you can send me an email. Hey Jim. All the details are in the down bar below, along with show notes, timestamps and links to various things. That's Jim the dog, my lovely black Labrador. Okay, so I'm here by the skin of my teeth, people. I'm just back from work, hence the sweaty hair and work uniform. Dave's Jim. And although it's only Monday, that's a point, it's Monday the 14th, I want to say, of October. I've been trying to record a podcast for over a week, and I've just gone for it. So I'm not terribly prepared. I will add in at the end my mini vlog of the West Wales wool show, which Jenny and I worked last Saturday over in Narberth. And yeah, it wasn't the longest vlog, and I haven't got a huge amount of knitting that I can show you for secret reasons. So I thought I would glue the two together, and then hopefully it will make something worth watching. So my plan is to whip through this and then go to bed, because I am at the slightly hysterical side of exhausted, and it is only a few more sleeps until the knit tea retreat. Yay! For anyone that doesn't know, Jenny, who is at Owl About Yarn, and I run the knit tea retreat, which is exactly what it sounds like, knitting retreats with lots of hot beverages and cake. And the Cardiff retreat is taking place from this Friday up at Insole Court. So we're in that sort of last week of finalising bits and bobs and printing things off and stuff like that. So we have an enormous to-do list, and she's coming over on Wednesday so we can tick the last few things off. Yes, I did want to remind you about the marketplace. Anyone is free to come to the retreat marketplace. You don't have to be an attendee. Entry is completely free. We've got 12 vendors this year, some returning from last year, some new faces, all of which is lovely. And if you would like to come, it's Sunday the 20th of October, 2 till 5 p.m. at Insole Court in Cardiff. And if you want to know more about the lovely vendors and what to expect when you arrive, find us on Instagram. We are at the Knit Tea Retreat. And again, check down below. There's lots of links. Obviously, Jenny will be there selling Owl About Yarn. I will be there selling Cartref Yarn on behalf of both of us. Again, for any new viewers, welcome, by the way. I'm not usually quite so frantic or disorganised. But Jenny and I together run Cartref Yarn, which is an exclusive blend of 100% Welsh Blue-Faced Leicester and Welsh Mule DK yarn. We source the fleeces, we take it to be spun, we dye it all up in our kitchens, and then we sell it to you, lovely lot. Now, I know quite a few of you have been waiting for more Cartref to go online. We have had really quite limited stock, so we had to save what we had for the West Wales Wool Show last weekend, and then obviously for the retreat coming up this weekend. But anything that we have left after the retreat marketplace will be going online on our Etsy shop as soon as we can manage it. On the Monday after the retreat, Jenny's meeting up with a few people for morning tea and cake, and I'm heading straight back to work. I'll be in work by 8:30 Monday morning. So it might take us a week, but we will do our best to get it up as soon as we can. If you have been waiting on that and you're not signed up to the newsletter, please find the link down below, get yourself signed up, and then you'll be the first to hear, because we send out email reminders. We'll also put it up on Instagram. And if you're interested in coming to any of our future retreats, again, the links are all down below. Oh, tea. Speaking of Cartref, You must forgive me if I toot our own horn a little bit. Any of you British knitters will recognise the Knitter magazine. I don't know if you have this anywhere else in the world or if it's just a UK publication. There are lots of knitting magazines available in the UK, but this one is pitched sort of at the top end of the market, a little bit smarter. And this is the most recent episode. This is issue 142 and it costs £6.99. You can pick them up in supermarkets and at WH Smith and things like that. Now, the reason I'm waving it at you is because I should have put a post-it note in here. Where to is it? Where to is it? I could have a look in the contents page. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be with you in just a minute. Yes, okay. Page 32, in case anyone is interested. Look, I'm holding it up. So this is their yarn review page, and they have chosen to do it on Welsh yarns, and that's us up there. Look, Cartref Yarn Welsh DK, and that's our red skein there. So I was absolutely thrilled, and so was Jenny, she subscribes to this anyway, to have a review in the Knitter magazine. It's a bit of a shame that it was published when we don't have any yarn available online. But it's all good exposure, and it was really flattering to be asked. And if anyone has the magazine, obviously you can see it for yourself, but I did just want to read you the review. Forgive me for tooting my own horn, but I can't not. They've written, "From sheep to mill to hand dyeing studio," by which they mean my kitchen. "This heavy DK is entirely produced within Wales. It comes in appealing colours with an attractive, subtle variation in tone. This yarn would be great for chunky sweaters and blankets and comes with a rewarding stretch, which bounces back quickly and promises longevity for your knits. You'll fall in love with its heritage feel and traditional finish." That's our yarn! That's our yarn! People like our yarn. Anyway, really excited to be in there. And also featured is Glan Cambrian wool, lovely Garthanol organic, the Lost Sheep Company, Nellie and Eve, and Moyleview yarn. So it was really flattering. I mean, to be included in an article with people like Garthanol is just fabulous. So yeah, if any of you have got that magazine, that's me and Jenny. There we go. Right, that's the end of me, blowing my own trumpet. Okay, I have 2 finished objects, but I can only show you one. And if anybody has not yet finished the Gnome Mystery Knit Along, look away now. But it has been finished for quite some weeks now, so I think I'll probably be okay. I would like to introduce to you Natalie the Gnome. And this is the Oh Gnome You Didn't Mystery Knit Along by Sarah Schira. Again, I will link her down below. And I'm not usually one for knitting fiddly little things, but I couldn't not. I've been watching Angela of the Yarn and Yarns podcast, and she's been knitting gnomes for ages now, using up hand-spun samples, which I thought was a really good idea. But I dug through my sock scraps. Isn't she cute? So I knitted the pattern exactly as written, with the exception of going for bells rather than tassels. So her body is in an Opal sock yarn, as is her scarf. Her hands, is that focusing? Her hands and her nose are knitted in a tiny little scrap of a mini from Kelly of Lay Family Yarns. The pink hat is an alpaca sock yarn, well, an alpaca 4-ply. I can't remember whose it is. I lost the label a long time ago, but it was leftovers from fingerless gloves that I made for my grandma years back. So there you go. She's got little pockets, and the idea is that you can tuck her hands into her pockets. And all of her other gnome patterns have had beards. And this one didn't have a beard, and I wasn't sure how I felt about the lack of beard. But I think she looks super cute. The dog hair was a design decision made by me and Jim, obviously. That's not included in the pattern. So there is Natalie the gnome. The instructions call for you to weight the bottom of her. And if you have a look at the bottom, there's that very pleasing pearl row and spiralling decreases, which looks rather smart. And she suggests aquarium gravel or something in the pattern, and I didn't have any. So I smiled at my husband, and Dave found me 3 metal washers, which I wrapped in gaffer tape and stuffed up her bum. And obviously she's filled, you know, just normal soft toy filling. That's the only finished object I have to show you. Did I say already? My other finished object is the Knit Tea Retreat pattern that will be going in the brochure, so I can't show you now because I know some viewers are coming. See you soon. But that pattern will be available from my Ravelry store after the retreat. So if you're interested in finding out about it, I'll show it next time. I think there's a link down below to my Ravelry designer pattern page. I can't remember, but I'm Pins and Needles UK if you're interested in any of my other designs. So, Natalie the gnome. I have a half finished object. I have been persevering on Dave's Christmas socks, and I finished one. I won't talk about this very much. It's Opal yarn. It's a rib. It's not a pattern. I just made it up out of my brain. And if you're bored of hearing about these socks, just imagine how bored I am of knitting them. I'm so done with this pattern. I have cast on the second one, and I'm probably about halfway down the leg. But I had to abandon all other knitting until I finished the retreat pattern, which I did last night. So that's finished. I've woven all the ends, it's washed, and it's blocking. In fact, I normally try and hold out putting the central heating on in the house until the 1st of November. But I need this finished item to be dry so I can photograph it for the pattern and to go in the brochure. So that is my excuse for putting the heating on. And yeah, and just drying out over there by the radiator. In terms of works in progress, obviously the other sock, that's still going on. And I treated myself to a new cast on yesterday. I've been wanting to cast this on for ages, but I couldn't until I'd finished the retreat pattern. And it's really nothing, it's nothing to write home about at the moment. But I have finally cast on for Locatelli's Boxy. I'm doing the fingering weight version, and the yarn was very kindly given to me by Jenny. And this is her Tweed Owl base. She didn't give it to me with a label, so I'm not sure what the colourway is, but it is purple, and she only has the one purple colourway. I think I've said before, I'm not sure if she's going to be stocking this ongoing. She's looking into some new bases and new exciting things. So, but anyway, it's lovely. And I've got plenty to finish my jumper, so I'm not worried. So yes, Locatelli's Boxy, and the pattern was very kindly given to me by Mars, who is Hey Brownberry. Thank you, lovely lady. So I've done 2 rounds of ribbing. There's a massive cast on. I'm knitting the 4th size, so I think there was 390 stitches to cast on. I usually use a long tail cast on, but I didn't want to risk it with that many stitches in case I ran out of tail yarn. So I did a knitted cast on, which looks fine. Yeah, and then I knit two rows flat before joining it in the round. I find it easier if I knit a couple of rounds first. It's easier to make sure it's not twisted when you come to join it in the round. And I think I've done one round in the round, and that's as far as I've got. So the pattern calls for, I think, 4 rounds of rib. I'm going to do a little bit more because I understand for some people it flips up, and I don't want that. Yeah, I'm knitting the 4th size, but I think I might need the 5th or even the 6th size for arm circumference. It's a drop shoulder pattern, and I have weightlifters biceps of consequence. But I've got something like 16 inches of stocking stitch to go, so I thought I will worry about that later. And also by that point, I'll have plenty of stocking stitch to make sure I've got my tension correct, and I can just do a bit of maths and work it out. So yeah, that's my other, well, that's my other work in progress. That's one day going to be a jumper. You might be getting updates about this for quite some time because, yeah, it's 4-ply yarn, and I think it has a 64-inch chest circumference. It's really oversized, so it's going to take me a while, but tons of stocking stitch is really all I can handle at the moment, and it will be perfect knitting for the retreat. On to acquisitions. I've been sent 2 presents. I have been spoilt rotten. The first of which was a complete surprise, and it was a lovely gift from Susan. So thank you so much, Susan. I was really touched by this. And if you've watched the last couple of episodes, I've been muttering about my love of tea towels. And I've been sent another tea towel. So Susan jumped online and she sent Jenny and me a tea towel from thewoolist.co.uk, and it's the British Breeds tea towel, and it does exactly what it says on the tin. Look, all the different sheep. Look at that, aren't they fabulous? So I'm going to have to find you the Welsh mule. Yeah, here we are. So if I fold it. So there's the Welsh mountain. They're big, big sheep, really floofy. And here is the Welsh mule. So when you cross a Welsh mountain with a blue-faced Leicester, there's the blue-faced Leicester. What you end up with is the Welsh mule. So there you go. So this is an absolute treat. I'm really thrilled with that. It was so kind, and it's really fun looking at all the different sheeps on it. Where's the one that looks like a teddy bear? Look, there's the Ryland. Super cute. So again, thank you very much. That was a really lovely gift, and I had no idea it was coming, so it was a lovely surprise. And then another surprise I got in the post came in this rather fabulous cardboard box. If you are on Instagram, you have probably seen that there's been a new book published recently called This Golden Fleece. There's the cover. And it's written by Esther Rutter, and it's printed by Granta Press, Granta. And like it says on the front, it's a journey through Britain's knitted history. And the publishers got in touch with me via Instagram and asked if they could send me a free copy, complete disclosure, just so I could have a read, and they hoped that I would talk about it on my podcast. So that is what I'm going to do. I haven't read it yet. It only arrived on Friday, so I haven't had the chance, but I'm really looking forward to reading it. I had a quick look. The inside of the jacket, it says, "A history of Britain's long love affair with wool, through a year of knitting garments from around the British Isles, from a captivating new voice in British non-fiction." Over the course of a year, Esther Rutter, who grew up on a sheep farm in Suffolk and learned to spin, weave and knit as a child, travels the length of the British Isles to tell the story of wool's long history here and its influence on our landscape and culture. So I'm very excited to have a read of this. And if I just show you the contents page on the inside, I think you can see that there's some really interesting stuff in here. So when things settle down a bit after the retreat, I'm very much looking forward to reading this, and I will of course keep you updated. And as well as the book, I got sent a teeny tiny little nubbin of Uist wool. Isn't that beautiful? It's called Canach in the colourway glass, I think, and it's 100% Scottish merino, 170 metres per 50 grams. And I'm assuming it's undyed. There you are, look. It does feel super soft. Uist wool, elemental yarns for inventive minds and creative hands, and you can find them at uistwool.com. Now, obviously, it's really lovely to be sent a little nubbin of yarn, but I'm particularly pleased that it's Uist yarn because, somewhat to people's surprise, if you didn't know this about me, my undergraduate degree was in medieval history and archaeology. And for the archaeology part of my degree, obviously we had to go on a proper dig as part of the course. And so I spent just over a month on the island of South Uist in the Outer Hebrides, staying in a static caravan with a load of other students, digging up a Viking age longhouse on the island of South Uist. So I really enjoyed my month there. It was really hard work, but it was one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. The sea is clear, completely clear and blue. You could be in the tropics. It was that stunning. And I found some fantastic artefacts. I found a bronze cloak pin with a rose head decoration on the top. We found gaming pieces. We found whalebone plaques about this big, with holes down the middle that they would have carved. We found a blank one, but they would have been carved and decorated. And we also found shards of cooking platters. I don't know if any of you have pizza, I don't know what you call them. It's like a bit like a baking sheet, but it's round with holes in. And the idea is you put pizza on it in the oven to let the heat come through. If you imagine one of those, but obviously made out of clay, and the way they made them is they took the clay and they just smooshed it out using their hands. And the pieces that I found had thumbprints in them, actual Viking people thumbprints. And I could put my thumb in the thumbprint of a Viking thumbprint that no one had touched for 1,000 years. Anyway, so I have a lot of fond memories of my time on South Uist. So it's really lovely that I have been somewhere that this wool came from. So yes, that was my little aside. So when I get round to reading this fabulous book and having a little knit with the yarn, I will let you know what I think. And I also love the box. Really sturdy box. I have to restrain myself from keeping too much storage that I don't need, but that box might have to stay with me. Just don't tell my husband. The only other acquisition I have is a heated throw. On my Amazon wish list for ages, I've had a plush, fleecy electric throw, and I finally cracked and bought it the other day. So all of my knitting from now on until about April will be done from underneath this gorgeous knitted throw. I think that's it for knitting content. Got a little bit of chat. This last weekend, I headed back to my mum and dad's house in Stratford-on-Avon. My brother and his wife have just had their first baby. Tiny little boy called Jamie. I didn't ask their permission to put pictures up, but needless to say, he's lush, tiny little thing, and he's just turned 2 weeks, so he was still all curled up like a roast chicken. You know how newborns look like roast chickens. So that was lovely. Busy on the final retreat bits and pieces. And yeah, I was at work this morning. I left the house at 7:15, and then the school rang and wondered if Jocelyn had broken her thumb or not. So I abandoned a client in the middle of the workout. Dave took over for me and went to see Jocelyn, who didn't have a broken thumb. So I prodded it, told her she was fine, and sent her back into classes. So I don't think I'm her favourite person at the moment. I've got to take Max to the GP this afternoon. So I'm recording this and then I'm going to bed. And I would just be grateful that YouTube has not yet introduced smell-o-vision, because I had the world's fastest, most furious workout at about 10 a.m. and I haven't managed to get to the shower yet. So I'm pretty sure I smell like a Rambler's crotch right now. So that's it for podcast content. Thank you ever so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up and click subscribe. I am so close to 5,000 subscribers. It would really make me happy if I could hit that number. I will insert after this the vlog that I took during the West Wales Wool Show in Narberth last weekend. No, weekend before last. I apologise in advance. It is not my finest vlog by a long chalk. Jenny and I were both super tired. It was such a long day and we really weren't on our finest form. But I hope you enjoy the little bits I did manage to capture, and I will see some of you on Friday for the Knit Tea Retreat. Bye! Morning everybody. It is Saturday the 5th of October at about 20 to 6 in the morning. It's an earlier than usual start today. Not by much. I'm often up by 5:30, so a 5 a.m. start wasn't too bad. I think Jenny's horrified. Anyway, we're up early because we are heading to the West Wales Wool Show today. It's in Narberth in West Wales. It's a couple of hours drive. I've not been before, but Jenny's a regular and she says it's a really lovely show. It's only the one day, so it'll be a short, sharp show, and I'm looking forward to that. So Jenny is driving over as we speak, and I am making tea and baking sandwiches because it will be breakfast on the road. I'll do what I can to film, but I imagine we'll be pretty busy with arriving and setup and all the rest of it, but I will do the best that I can. I'm wearing my hitchhiker, which I knit out of a skein of Jenny's yarn. I want to say fireworks or firecracker or something like that, ever so slightly sparkly. And then my pavement sweater, which is a pattern by Vera Valimaki in Jenny's Rumpelstiltskin yarn. So I'm fully owl about yarned up. I've got the Cartref all bagged up with our new colourway, which I will show you later. And it's going to be a really good day, if a little bit long. are thundering down the M4 and the weather has deteriorated a smidge.
Yeah, it's officially dream.
So is that focused? Might just be not very much light. So West Wales Wool Show.
Yeah, I like this one.
You do like this one, don't you? Just a one-day tabletop one.
Home in my own bed tonight.
And yeah, it's over a couple of different buildings. There's a hotel and
a hall in the community hall type thing in the town.
oh, okay.
Yeah, Queen's Hall.
And it's
And I've never managed to get down there to see it because I've only ever had a boy with me.
oh, well, we can take it in turns. Go and have a wander. But yeah, a bit of an early start. You're not really used to it, are you?
You're having a laugh and a bit of an early start. Oh my god, there's not enough caffeine in the world to get me out of bed at 10 to 5.
I've got a big blue flask and I bought my thermos as well, so yeah, lots of tea.
Yeah, fresh packet of tea bags.
Yeah, we're halfway through the bacon sandwiches, saving the second one for later. I think it's going to be a good day.
Yeah, I hope so.
As long as we can stay awake. Neither of us got a huge amount of sleep last night, but that's okay. Right, roundabout. We'll check in later. Right, we are set up and ready to go. I'm going to pan slowly around. There's Jenny, look, and Cartref. All of the lovely yarns. We made it by the skin of our teeth. So the weather's a bit drizzly, but it's Wales, so nobody will really mind. There's Jenny. She needs a cup of tea and a second bacon sandwich. And a nap. Other than that, we're doing fine. So I will scooch the camera around and show you the rest of the room. Okay, so we are by the bar. Unfortunately, it's not open. But I suppose we're in like the main function room. And it's rather lovely. Already warm, I must say. I was worried I was going to be too cold, but I'm used to Bill's Wells where it's a sheep barn. But it's absolutely packed with marvellous yarny things. I will have to go and get a proper look at some of these things later. I did want to show you our new shade of purple for Cartref. This is Coron, which means crown. There it is, look. We've got very limited quantities of this, but whatever we have left will be coming to the retreat. This is our other purple, Brenhinol. It's a bit of a bluer one and we wanted a bit of a redder purple. But yeah, all ready to go. Just waiting for the people. So we've made it to lunchtime and I'm having a cheeky sit down behind the stand. Look, there's Jenny. This is what the view looks like when you're in the sitting down hidey hole. And the stand next door has loads of these beautiful Jacob bats on. And I've managed to sell £8 worth of my knitting patterns so far, so I'm trying to choose what I spend my money on. And to get in ahead of the lunchtime rush, Jenny has been and ordered us lasagna for lunch. And given that breakfast was 6 hours ago, and since then we've driven over 100 miles and set up a stand, I think that's probably allowed, don't you? What's the time?
It is 10 minutes past 4.
It's gone really quiet. And we're really tired. And I've drunk an entire pint of Pepsi now. And I still want to fall asleep face first in the middle of the floor. It's been a lovely show. Met some nice people.
Carpet, lasagna.
Carpets, which might sound weird, but when you're used to kneeling on ridged poured concrete to put up brick wall, carpet is a real treat for your knees.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's gone quiet. And we've got,
Well, it always does at the end of the day, doesn't it? Because, yeah,
we've got a lot of packing to do.
I know. I'm just wondering how much I actually want to take it home.
You could just leave it here and pick it up next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't want to knit on Dave's Christmas sock anymore. I'm bored. So I've looked at Instagram a lot and...
I'm still looking.
She's still looking.
seeing how many of my followers are, not followers, people I'm following are still posting, and you know, Instagram admin. Oh look, you're right at the top of my list.
I meant to sort of scoot round a bit more and show you some stands and things, but honestly it's just been a bit of a flog today. I don't think either of us have really had the spare energy.
No, I'm feeling really guilty because I feel like I've not been giving enough.
Yeah, but I think it's just been one of those days.
Feeling a bit broken today.
And there's no way I could have got out of the hall really and gone to find the other venue. So I think what I'll probably do, as this wasn't a spectacular vlog, is record half a normal podcast.
Not done yet.
And glue them together.
The journey home might be full of laughs.
We have not got spectacular in us. We really haven't. Yeah.
New review.
It was nice.
Posh soap and hand lotion.
Yeah, it's got nice gingery hand lotion, so that's nice.
Warm ginger.
Warm ginger.
As she said, like her.
Just like me. Right, well, I'll try and record a bit more tomorrow if I can. Got my secret gnome along to show them, so that might be exciting. Alright then, well, might see you later. Say bye.
Bye.